Music is a universal language, and it really inspires people to hear my story and relate to it. They look at me and it's like, she made it this far. Why can't I?
I say keep going. Don't stop. Keep moving.
My name is Shirley Curtis. I am a singer, dancer, rapper, just an all-around artist. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. in a small neighborhood called Brookland. I lived on 12th Street at my grandfather's house. That's really where magic started to happen. My mother passed away from breast cancer when I was very, very young. I don't even think that I had reached age 2. And a lot of the things that have happened to me in life, I feel like they wouldn't have happened if my mother had still been here. I really don't have a lot of memories of her because I was so young. But I have a whole lot of pictures of her, and I really cherish those pictures. I grew up listening to oldies but goodies music. My father, he raised me by himself from the point that my mother passed on. He would always play his oldies but goodies music. And I ended up getting really, really inspired by their music. I would always sing with him, but just for fun, nothing serious. That is how he discovered my voice. It was one day, we were driving in the car, and we would always listen to this song called Your Love by Larry Graham. I loved that song to death. I made him play it to death to the point where he got tired of hearing it. So this one particular day, I was like, Daddy, I want to sing Your Love. And he's like, I'm so sick and tired of hearing Your Love, but you know what? I will play it for you one time. We could sing it one time. I'm like, great. I was just feeling something in my chest that day. I don't know what it was. I don't know where it came from. But he sang his part. And it got to my part and I belted those lyrics out with everything in me. And my dad was driving at the time. He pulled over, stopped the car, and he looked at me with tears in his eyes and he was like, go ahead, girl. And I will never forget that moment. I've been singing ever since. From there, I went on to participate in talent shows at Brookland Elementary School. First grade was my first talent show. That was the day that I showcased my talent to everybody else. I sang Midnight Train to Georgia by Gladys Knight. People were really blown away by that performance, and they were going up to my dad. They were like, what are you gonna do with her? You need to do something with her. She's great. It's crazy. She's so young and her voice is so good. My music basically elevated when I got to high school. In the 10th grade, I met my teacher, Mr. Colston. He helped me jumpstart a lot of my music and my writing.
My relation to Sherri starts really, I want to say 10th grade year, I think, McKinley Technology High School. And, Sherri was immediately a student who you knew number one, was serious about her academics, but more importantly, there was something else there. There was some creativity there. The initial meeting of her and my first, I guess, feel for Sherri was just that she was unique. She was very consistent. She had the trait that I love in students, which are just a go-getter attitude, always sharp on her job and mature beyond her years, and just, quite frankly, just on it.
I was in this group called Genesis, and basically what Genesis was basically our own little record label.
Genesis started out as a hip-hop club, and the hip-hop club turned into a audio engineering recording club where students could write, record their own music and things like that. And Genesis formed when a lot of the students that individually were working on music said, you know what, we want to be a collective. Like, we're individual artists, but we want to come together and record and just be a unit.
We would go to Mr. Colston's room after school, sit there and have full-on studio sessions with him. We would just write and, vibe. Mr. Colston was the man behind the madness when it came to me writing my first song called Angel.
So I was listening to Terrence Martin's 3-Chord Fold, incredible album. So there's a song on his album produced by Ninth Wonder called Angel. I was listening to it and I said, I would love to hear somebody sing over it. because it's just the instrumental. It was like an interlude on the album. And so went into the studio, and I think we were chatting, and I think I was just like, hey, what you think? And this would be dope if somebody, sung over, what you think, kind of edging her on, And she took it and said, I'm gonna take this home. I'll never forget it. I'm gonna take this home, see what happens.
The beat was just so out of my element, but I told him that I would take it and I would come back to him with something. And I took the beat home that night, and I wrote to it that same night, a whole song, wrote it out, and I came to him the next day. I was like, I'm ready to record.
She came back, Angel was written, and I'm like, well, you wrote a whole song, like hooked everything? And she was like, yep.
We one take that whole song through, and it was gold.
A great story about Angel. She produced, wrote, directed, and shot and edited everything in her music video.
And he was telling me, he was like, do you really want to do this? You're going to need a crew. You're going to need this, this, and that. I was like, Mr. Colston, I promise you I got it.
Still to this day, I tell my students, you want to talk about grit, determination, and just being skilled and saying, not accepting no. She did it all by herself.
It's nothing that you can tell me that I can't do, because I will prove you wrong. My dad actually passed away at the end of my 10th grade year of high school, and his death really devastated me. All I knew was my father. My daddy was my world. When he passed away, I kind of went into this whole depression. He had left me to my stepmother. About a year after he passed, she kicked me out.
There was never a moment where I sensed that she would give up. There was never a moment that she said, you know what, Mr. Colston, I'm done. I can't take it anymore. I'm dealing with too much right now. Between death and my family situation, my living situation, it was just every day you got the same Sherri.
I really didn't know how to deal with my feelings other than to write and sing. That's really what got me through that period of time. From that point on, I've continued to use music as my outlet, and every time I perform, every time I'm on stage, I just, something clicks in my head and I'm just a completely different person. Like, it's something that puts me in my element. It's something that I've always loved to do and will always love to do. Whatever kind of dark times that you're going through, whatever, dark period that you're going through, it's not gonna last forever. You can definitely make it through if you focus on something that you love. And that thing for me was music. Don't let people tell you what you can and can't do. You'll make it, and I guarantee you'll laugh at them in the end.